Hello, Samiksha. Are you there? And you are able to hear me? Samiksha, am I audible to you? Samiksha, am I audible, Samiksha? I think there is some problem with your mic, Samiksha, and because of which I'm not getting your audio. Can you please troubleshoot this problem? There is a issue basically. I'm supposed to take accounts class at 9 o'clock, and I have basically taught the economics part. Peer. So you are basically asked to join the accounts class, right?
I don't know, sir. It was 1 minute. I'll just ask and see.
So there is a problem is that basically the problem is that Samiksha is our basically economics student. She was an economics batch and she was supposed to join at 9 o'clock. Because she didn't join at 9 o'clock, I thought that Nishkarsh have arranged the accounts class. So problem is that basically Samiksha, the part that I have taught you in consumers equilibrium, I was basically supposed to teach Samiksha as well. But Samiksha joined late and Samiksha basically will not be able to cover this portion. I'm not basically getting that how I will provide backup to the Samiksha. Samiksha, are you getting the audio? Samiksha, am I audible to you? Samiksha, can you rejoin so that this problem, I think this might be resolved only when you will rejoin.
Hello,
Yeah, Samiksha. So
sir.
Samiksha, I think you were supposed to join at 9 o'clock, na?
Sir, I had got a message that I have to join at 10 in India time. I
Okay.
had got economics 7:30 Bahrain time,
Mhm.
7:30 to 8:30.
All right, all right. So there is a issue basically. Peer have joined our classes today, and Peer have joined at 9 o'clock. And I thought he's basically joining for economics, and I have taught economics at 9 o'clock batch. And you are basically joining at 10 o'clock, and you have missed the portion that I have basically taught in 9 o'clock batch. So
Sir,
the
I did not know because that's the message we got. Like I have
okay,
to
no
join.
problem, no problem. That is basically basically issue from our side. So one thing that we can do right now is that Peer, you are getting my audio. You're able to hear me.
Yes,
Yes,
sir, I
sir.
can.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So Peer, the thing we can do right now is that you can skip this classes. Can we arrange a separate class for you tomorrow? Because Samiksha has missed her economics class, so I'll have to provide the backup to Samiksha now, and I will arrange a separate accountancy class for you tomorrow at some time. I will
Okay,
talk
sir.
to the
Okay, sir.
I'll talk to the manager, and he will arrange a class for Peer you, and I'll inform you accordingly. All
Okay,
right,
sir.
Peer.
Sir,
Yeah,
Samisha, you stay connected.
for whom, sir?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
For
Sorry,
me.
Peer.
For me, sir.
Hi, for
For
you
me
only.
tomorrow.
For
Okay,
you
sir.
only. Because the thing basically Samiksha and Steve have already covered certain portion accountancy, and you will be joining them in. This is basically your going to be. This is going to be your first class, right? So
Yes, sir.
I'll just have to give you a little bit of backup so that you can join with Samiksha and Steve in the upcoming classes. So for that I'll need a separate class. I'll basically teaching you only, and I'll ask the Nishkarsh for arranging a separate session with you.
Okay,
All right,
sir.
so you can
Sir,
skip
sir.
this session.
Okay, sir. You will message. You'll message.
I'll let me
Me.
talk to Nishkarsh and he will contact you. All right, Peer.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So
Thank you, sir.
probably tomorrow he will arrange a class at around 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock Indian time. 8 o'clock Indian time
Okay.
basically means it will be around 5:13. And where do you live, Peer?
Sir, in Tamil Nadu.
In Tamil Nadu. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
basically we'll be doing at 8 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, but sir, where do you live, sir?
I live in Delhi.
Oh, okay.
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 So let me talk to Nishkash and he'll be informing you accordingly. All right, Peer.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you,
Yes,
Peer.
sir.
So you can skip this session.
Welcome.
Steve also. Steve, am I audible to you, Steve?
Yes, sir.
Steve,
sir.
actually, Samiksha have joined this session at 10 o'clock, and basically I have to teach her the economics portion that I have taught you. And as you have already covered this portion, so you can skip this session. We will continue in the next class with you. All right, Steve.
Okay, sir.
So you do not need to do this class again.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Samiksha, you stay connected.
Okay, sir.
All right. Samiksha, we have basically started a new chapter in economics today. We have started consumers equilibrium. Actually, we have left few portion in the first chapter. There are few basic concepts left in the first chapter, such as classification of economics and types of economics, that we will cover in the basically some other time, because there is a new student in our batch, Peer Mohammed. So just to accommodate him, I have started a new chapter. All right. So
Yes.
whatever the portion I have left in the first chapter, we will cover it later, some other day. All right. So now, for now, I'll be starting a new chapter, which is consumers equilibrium, Samiksha.
Okay, sir.
So in this chapter, first of all, we will understand who is a consumer. So do you have any idea who is a consumer?
The customer.
Right, the customer. There is a slight difference between a customer and a consumer. See, customer is a person who purchases the goods, and the person who consumes the good is a consumer, right? So
Yeah.
there can be two different person. A person who is purchasing the good can be different, and a person consuming the good, purchasing and purchaser and consumer can be two different person. Suppose my father purchased a certain a particular product, and I am consuming the product, so I am the consumer and my father is a customer, right?
Yes, sir.
So consumer is basically a person who consumes goods for the satisfaction of his want. In order to satisfy his want, a person who consumes goods is called consumer. All right. Now, what is equilibrium? Equilibrium is basically situation of maximum satisfaction. In economics, equilibrium is defined as a situation of maximum satisfaction. If a person is having maximum satisfaction at any point of time, we will say that he is in equilibrium. All right. So equilibrium and consumer are two different things, but whenever we have to define the meaning of consumers equilibrium, we can say that, consumers equilibrium, give me a minute. We can say that consumers equilibrium is a situation where a person is having maximum amount of satisfaction by spending his given income on consumption of goods and services, right? See, I think you are very much clear about the consumer. Consumer is a person who consumes goods, and you are also clear about the equilibrium, situation of maximum satisfaction. If a person is having maximum satisfaction, we will say that he's in equilibrium. Now the thing that you'll have to understand, that what is consumers equilibrium. Let me explain this concept on the notebook. Just a second. Okay. So suppose let's talk about you. Suppose we are talking about Samiksha. This is Samiksha. And say Samiksha is having certain amount of money. Say you are having 100 rupees with you, and you want to purchase a particular product with this amount. Say for example, you want to purchase chocolates. All right. Now, I have asked you that with 100 rupees, how much chocolate you want to purchase, Samiksha, so that you can have the maximum satisfaction. So Samiksha is basically saying that, sir, if I somehow, if I'll be able to purchase 10 units of the chocolates, then I think this will provide me maximum amount of satisfaction. According to you, you believe that if you spends your money on the purchase of chocolate, and if you somehow, if you are able to purchase 10 units of chocolate, then after purchasing 10 units of chocolate, only then you will get the maximum amount of satisfaction, right? So for this purpose, you goes to a shop, you goes to first shop, and you ask the retailer to give you chocolate, and he's basically he have priced the chocolate at 25 rupees per unit. All right. So now you basically evaluate that if he's offering you chocolate at 25 rupees each, then you will be able to purchase only 4 units if you buy the chocolates from shop number 1. Now you go to the other shop number 2, and the shopkeeper at shop number 2 is offering you chocolates at rupees 20 each, 20 per unit. Then you go to the other shop number 3, and here the shopkeeper is offering you chocolate at 10 each. And finally you also visit shop number 4, where retailer have priced the chocolate at 8 each. So tell me, Samiksha, considering that you want to purchase 10 chocolates with this much amount, where do you go? Where which shop you will buy the chocolates from?
Shop
Shop
3.
shop 3. You will buy the chocolate from shop 3 because you think that because at shop 5 you will only be able to purchase 4 units of the chocolate, right? So this
Yes.
is not a good option, because you will not be able to purchase 10 units of chocolate from this shop, and because you are not able to purchase 10 units, this will not give you maximum amount of satisfaction. All right. So you will also not buy the chocolates from shop number 2, because from there you will only be able to purchase 5 units of the chocolate. All right. So you will also not buy from the shop number 2. But when you go to shop number 3, they will be giving you chocolate at 10 rupees each, which means that you will be able to purchase chocolates at 10 each, which means you will be able to buy 10 units of chocolate with this much of amount, with 100 rupees. So this is obviously a good option, because at shop number 3 you will be getting the quantity that you desire for, right? And because you will get the quantity that you desire for, then you will definitely have the maximum amount of satisfaction. But please consider shop number 4. At shop number 4, shopkeeper is basically offering you same commodity at lesser price. He's offering you chocolate at 10 rupees per unit. So don't Samiksha, will
Yes,
you
sir.
be buying chocolate from shop number 3 or shop number 4? If same commodity is being
No,
offered at shop number 4 at a lesser price, definitely you will go to shop
4.
4,
Yes.
because by doing this you will be able to purchase 10 units of chocolate, and you will also be able to save 20 rupees as well, right? So you will you basically have to spend only 80 rupees in order to purchase 10 units of the commodity. Always remember that whenever we talk about maximum satisfaction, it does not mean that we will have the maximum satisfaction only if we spend all of our amount. If we are getting maximum satisfaction that we desire for with the without spending all of the amount, then I think this is the best situation. If out of these options, shop number 1, 2 and 3 and 4, if a person is getting same chocolate at a lesser price, and at the same time he's able to make saving as well, then shop number 4 will be considered as a better option, right? So this customer Samiksha will buy from shop number 4, and by buying from shop number 4, she will give maximum she will get maximum amount of satisfaction. So if we have to define consumers equilibrium, we can say that consumer equilibrium refers to a situation when a person spends his income in such a way that he gets maximum amount of satisfaction. If a person spends his income in such a way that he gets maximum amount of satisfaction, this situation, this state is basically called equilibrium, consumer's equilibrium. Samiksha, is it clear?
Yes, sir. I understood.
So basically consumer equilibrium, what do we mean by consumer's equilibrium? Consumer equilibrium is said to be, consumer is said to be in equilibrium, a person is said to have got the maximum amount of satisfaction only when he spends his limited income on consumption of commodity in such a way that he gets maximum satisfaction. We will say that consumer is basically in equilibrium. All right. Now next thing that we'll be discussing in this chapter is that what are the various approaches to understand the concept of equilibrium. See, Samiksha, basically consumers equilibrium, in this chapter we have to deal about two questions. Number one, what is equilibrium? That we have already covered, what is consumers equilibrium. And the other question is that how a consumer attains equilibrium, how a consumer receives maximum amount of satisfaction when a consumer is said to be in equilibrium. These kind of question. So we have already covered what is equilibrium. Now we have to understand how a consumers achieve maximum satisfaction, or when we say that a consumer is in equilibrium, when we can say that consumer is in a situation of maximum satisfaction, right? So in order to understand the concept of consumers equilibrium, there are two approaches, right? There are two approaches to understand the concept of equilibrium. Those approaches were given by two different economists. One was Professor Alfred Marshall and the other one was J.R. Hicks and Allen. All right. See, just a minute. See, what I'm saying is that consumers equilibrium, if you want to understand that when a customer will be in equilibrium, so this is basically explained by two different economists, and two different economists have followed their two different approaches. In order to understand consumer equilibrium, we have two theories by two different economists. One was Alfred Marshall, and the other one was J.R. Hicks and Allen. J.R. Hicks and Allen. All right. So Alfred Marshall explained the concept of equilibrium through a different approach, through different theory. And on the other hand, concept of equilibrium is also basically explained by J.R. Hicks and Allen according to his own approach. So basically there are two approaches to understand the concept of equilibrium. One was given by Alfred Marshall and the other one was given by Hicks and Allen. The theory or the approach which was given by Alfred Marshall is basically called utility approach. What do we call it? We call it utility. Correct. This is utility approach. And the approach to understand equilibrium according to Hicks and Allen is known as indifference curve approach. Indifference curve approach, right? So basically, if I ask you how many approaches are there to understand the concept of equilibrium, you can say that there are two approaches to understand the concept of equilibrium. One was given by Alfred Marshall, which is known as utility approach, and the other one was given by J.R. Hicks and Allen. There are these are two different persons. Hicks is a different person, Allen is a different person. So Hicks and Allen was basically associate of Hicks. So Hicks and Allen collectively gave a theory which is called indifference curve approach. All right. So we will first understand the concept of equilibrium through the Alfred Marshall theory, through the approach of utility. Then after completing this concept, we will start covering the other approach, indifference curve approach. All right, Samiksha?
Yes, sir.
See, next, utility approach was given by Professor Alfred Marshall. And through utility approach, what Alfred Marshall wants to explain? He wants to explain that how or when a person gets maximum amount of satisfaction. But Alfred Marshall says that in order to understand my theory, Alfred Marshall says that in order to understand my theory, you have to at least know 5 points, 5 concepts, 5 basic concepts you must know, so that you will be able to understand the concept of equilibrium through Alfred Marshall. So basically, in order to understand the concept of consumers equilibrium through which approach? Through utility approach. Through utility approach, Marshall requires us to know at least 5 things. Marshall says that in order to understand the concept of equilibrium, you must know the meaning of utility. Then you should also know the meaning of total utility. Then you must be aware of the marginal utility. And there is one more concept which is called law of diminishing marginal utility. This is in the short form, we say that we write it as LDMU, law of diminishing marginal utility. And there is one more thing that he wants us to know is utility of money. So there are basically 5 concepts that we will have to cover first, so as to understand the concept of equilibrium through utility approach. That is approach of Alfred Marshall. Alfred Marshall requires us to understand utility, total utility, marginal utility, law of diminishing marginal utility, and utility of money. All right. So first of all, we will be doing the utility, and after that we will be covering the other topics. Just a minute. See, there are 2 approaches to understand the concept of equilibrium. One was given by Alfred Marshall. He was Alfred Marshall. Okay, and Alfred Marshall, the theory that Alfred Marshall gave is known as utility approach. All right, Samiksha. And the theory which J.R. Hicks and Allen have given is known as indifference curve approach. All right, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next thing is that in order to understand the concept of equilibrium through utility approach, we are first covering utility approach. Okay, we are not discussing about the J.R. Hicks and Allen approach, indifference curve approach. We will be first covering utility approach, and here we have to understand at least 5 things. First, in order to understand the entire concept of equilibrium, those 5 things are utility, total utility, marginal utility, and then we have law of diminishing marginal utility and utility of money. These things need to be understood first of all. Only then we will be able to understand the concept of equilibrium. So number 1 that we will be covering is utility. What is utility? See, according to Alfred Marshall basically believe that whatever good or services that a person uses or consume, it gives that person a certain amount of satisfaction, right? Suppose if I am hungry, and if I have given fruit or food or something else, so basically it will put my hunger to rest. It will give me certain amount of satisfaction. After consuming food, I'll be satisfied. So this satisfaction in economics, according to Alfred Marshall, is basically called utility. Anything that we uses, we drink water satisfy our want, right? If I am feeling hot, for example, and if I switch on the fan, so it will eventually give certain amount of satisfaction to me as well. All right, if I am feeling hungry and if I consume food, then it will provide me certain amount of satisfaction. So basically, satisfaction according to Alfred Marshall is called utility. Alfred Marshall recognizes the satisfaction as utility. All right. So Alfred Marshall believed that everything that a person consumes or uses or basically eats or anything, everything provides him certain amount of satisfaction. Suppose if I'm using this pen in my class to teach you, this is basically satisfying my need to write. So basically this pen is also providing me satisfaction. All right, this computer system through which I'm able to take the class, this is providing This is basically satisfying my needs. Hence, this is also providing me certain amount of satisfaction. So rather than saying satisfaction, Alfred Marshall basically saying it as utility. Alfred Marshall is saying that satisfaction is not satisfaction, it is called utility. All right. So how can we define satisfaction? How can we define utility? We can define it as satisfying power of commodity. Satisfying power of commodity is called utility. And one more thing that Alfred Marshall has added, he said that utility of a commodity can be measured in terms of number. This is something new. This is something different. This is something that you have never heard before. He is basically saying that whatever the amount of satisfaction a person is getting from consuming a commodity, he can express his satisfaction in terms of number. Say for example, if I consume mango, if I consume water, if I eat pizza, if I eat burger, the amount of satisfaction that I have derived, I can express such satisfaction in terms of numerical value. I can give the numbers to my satisfaction. And this is new because I have never done this before. Have you ever heard something like this? Have anyone told you that you can express the satisfaction in numbers?
No, sir.
No. This is something new that Alfred Marshall is saying. He's saying that we can express the satisfaction in numbers. Say for example, if I am, suppose if I'm very thirsty and I have given a glass of water, so water will give me a lot of satisfaction because I am very thirsty. So in order to express my satisfaction, I can give the glass of water number, that is, say for example, I'm giving 100. All right. At the same time, suppose a person who is not so thirsty, if he is not willing to drink water, if he did not feel any need to drink water, and if he has also been offered a glass of water, so I think he will not receive equal amount of satisfaction. He will be receiving less satisfaction, and because he is receiving less satisfaction, he will give less number to his satisfaction. Suppose he says that he have got only 20 satisfaction. You're getting my point. Basically a person getting higher amount of satisfaction can indicate his satisfaction level by giving higher value to it. And if a person is receiving low satisfaction or no satisfaction at all, so accordingly he can give lower value or zero value to the satisfaction. All right.
Yeah.
So two things that I have told you till now, that utility is basically satisfying power of a commodity, and utility can be expressed in numbers. Alfred Marshall called those numbers cardinal numbers. Alfred Marshall said that these are not any ordinary numbers. I will call these numbers cardinal numbers. See, basically these are no special numbers. These are general numbers. Basically, Alfred Marshall is calling them, rather than saying them ordinal numbers or your ordinary numbers, he is basically calling it cardinal numbers. All right. Next thing, he said that anything that we can measure should have the measuring unit. Just like we are measuring the satisfaction in numbers, right? We are expressing the satisfaction in numbers. So everything that can be measured or expressed in numbers must have a measuring unit. Say for example, distance. We can measure distance, right? We can express the distance in numbers.
Yes,
Samiksha?
sir. Yes,
So what is the measuring unit of distance?
meter.
Meter or a kilometer, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, if we suppose if we measure the weight of a particular commodity or a particular person, so we
In
generally
grams or
use right,
kgs.
in gram or kilogram or liters, depending upon the kind of good. All right. Similarly, Alfred Marshall is basically saying that satisfying power of a commodity is utility, and utility can be measured in terms of numbers. So there should be some measuring unit, and in order to measure the utility, we will use utils as measuring unit. Util is treated as the measuring unit of utility. All right. One more thing that Alfred Marshall said, that utility of a commodity is subjective. Subjective basically means that it will keep on changing from person to person, time to time, and place to place. Subjective means basically the satisfaction depends upon the person, time and place. Suppose let's take an example that I like a burger a lot and you do not like a burger, right? If I have given a burger, okay, and you are also given a burger, so who will be going to receive higher amount of satisfaction?
You, sir.
I'll be receiving higher amount of satisfaction. So basically product is same, right? Product is same, but person to person satisfaction is different. Same burger is providing me higher amount of satisfaction, at the same time same burger is providing you lesser amount of satisfaction. All right. So
Yes.
basically utility keep on changing from person to person. Suppose I am having a fever or a headache or something else, some kind of problem, and I have given a medication for this. So if I take the medication, I'll obviously I'll receive certain amount of satisfaction. My pain will be relieved, and other benefits I will also going to receive. But suppose you are not having any problem, you are not having any kind of illness or any kind of symptoms. So, and if I gave you the same medication, same medicines, do you will you also get the equal amount of satisfaction? Will you in fact get the satisfaction?
No.
No. Is it clear? Basically, I am getting satisfaction because I need medicine. You are not getting satisfaction because you do not need medicine, right? So the governing thing here is that a person gets the satisfaction less or high depending upon the need. Utility depends upon the need of a person. If a person needs a product, if a how suppose a person needs a product very badly, if a person is basically need a product urgently, he's definitely going to receive higher amount of satisfaction. And the person who do not want to basically consume goods and he is not in need of the good, so he will not be having such amount of satisfaction that the other person is receiving. All right.
Yes,
So
sir.
utility, what I have told you, utility is the satisfying power of a commodity. It can be measured in terms of number. Those numbers are called cardinal numbers, and it has a measuring unit which we call utils. And it is subjective. It keep on changing from person to person, time to time, and place to place. Basically, it depends upon the need of the person. What is the need? If there is a higher need, if there is a urgent need, a person is going to receive higher amount of satisfaction. Otherwise he will be going to receive less amount of satisfaction. Okay, see, in this slide it is written that utility is the satisfying power of a commodity. According to Marshall, every commodity has a power to satisfy the human wants, and it can be represented in terms of cardinal
Cardinal.
numbers. All right. And there is a measuring unit as well, which we call utils. And utility of a commodity keeps on changing from person to person, time to time, and place to place. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on with the next topic. Next is total utility. What is total utility? Basically total is basically aggregate, and utility is satisfaction, right? So total amount of satisfaction that a person is getting after consuming total units or total available units of a commodity is called total utility or total satisfaction. Let me explain this on the notebook. Say for example, a person is consuming oranges, right? And he is consuming 3 oranges. From first orange he is getting satisfaction of 50 utils. All right. And after second orange he is getting, let's say, he is getting 20 utils of satisfaction. And after consuming third unit of the orange he is getting 5 utils of satisfaction. Is it clear, Samiksha? So
Yes, sir.
person is basically consuming 3 oranges, and from these 3 oranges, from first orange he's getting 50, 20, and then from the third orange he's getting 5 utils of satisfaction. I want to ask you that, can you please tell me what is the total amount of satisfaction this person is getting after consuming all 3 units of the oranges?
75 utils.
75 utils. This is basically called total utility.
Yes, sir.
So total utility simply means total amount of satisfaction that a person is receiving after consuming all the available or all the possible units that he can consume. So basically total utility is total satisfaction, right? There is one more similar thing, similar topic, marginal utility. So we have basically covered utility, total utility, and now moving on with marginal utility. What is marginal utility? See, marginal, basically the term marginal means additional, extra, or utility basically means satisfaction, right? So additional satisfaction that a person is receiving from consuming one extra unit. Listen to me very carefully. When a person receive extra satisfaction from consuming one extra unit of the commodity, that is called marginal utility. Additional satisfaction that a person is receiving after consuming one extra unit is called marginal. Yani ki, sorry, basically marginal utility is always calculated in terms of one unit. Marginal utility will always be calculated for one unit of the commodity. I will explain this through a short example. See, suppose a person is consuming 10 units of the commodity and he is receiving 300 of utils, 300 total amount of satisfaction. This is total utility, TU. Now what happens? He consume total 11 units now. Initially he was consuming only 10 units. His total satisfaction was 300. But when his consumption increases to 11 unit, his total utility reaches to 340 utils. So can you tell me, by consuming one extra unit, how much extra satisfaction he got?
40 utils.
40 utils. This 40 utils is basically called,
Marginal utility.
correct, this is called marginal utility. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So marginal utility basically means extra satisfaction by consuming one extra unit. All right. And total utility is the total amount of satisfaction by consuming all the possible or available units. Let's understand this through one more example. Suppose these are the quantity of a commodity that a customer is consuming, and this is the total amount of satisfaction, TU, and this is marginal utility, MU. So total quantity is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like this. And say for example, when he was consuming one unit, he was getting satisfaction of 40 utils, total of 40 utils. And when he consumed 2 units of commodity, he got the total satisfaction of 65 utils, then 80 utils, then 85 utils, again 85 utils, then say 78, and then 70 utils. All right. So basically this is the total amount of satisfaction he's getting. At first, when he consumed only one unit, he gets 40 utils. After consuming 2 units, he gets 65 utils. And after consuming 7 units, his total satisfaction reaches to 70 utils. All right. Now, how can we calculate marginal utility? See, marginal utility basically means extra satisfaction every time a person is receiving after consuming one extra unit of the commodity, right? So at first unit, after consuming one unit of the commodity, if a person is receiving 40 units, 40 utils of satisfaction, can we say that this will be his marginal utility as well? If a person is consuming for the first time, if a person is consuming one unit of a commodity, and this is the first unit of the commodity, so his total satisfaction will be 40. And at the same time, his marginal utility will also be 40, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you're not able to understand this, you can simply remember that at first unit, total utility and marginal utility both are equal. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
Next is second unit. When he consumes 2 unit of the commodity, his total satisfaction reaches to 65. Can you tell me, after consuming one extra unit of commodity, how much extra satisfaction did he get?
25.
35 or 25? Okay, 25.
25.
25. All right. So this is his marginal utility. And again, when his total consumption reaches to 3, his total satisfaction also reaches to 80. So what is the change in total utility?
15.
15. Next time there is change of only 5 utils. Next time there is no change. It was 85, it was again 85. It is again 85. So there is no change basically. And now satisfaction declined from 85 to 78. So basically there is decrease in the marginal utility. See,
Yes, sir.
it was 85 earlier, now it is 78 only. So there is change of how many units? 7 utils. That is in negative, -7. All right. And after consuming 7 unit, his total satisfaction reaches to 70, which was at
98.
6, it was 78. So how much change is there in the total utility?
-8.
-8. Very good. Is it clear, Samiksha?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
No, sir.
So till now we have covered the meaning of consumer. We have also covered the literal meaning of equilibrium. Then we have covered the definition of consumer equilibrium, where I have told you that we can explain consumer equilibrium by saying that it is basically a situation wherein a consumer is having maximum amount of satisfaction by spending his income on consumption of goods and services. All right.
Yes, sir.
Then we have also understood that there are two approaches, there are two theories to understand the concept of equilibrium, and those theories were given by two different economists. One was Professor Alfred Marshall and the other one was J.R. Hicks and Allen, right? And
Yes.
the theory which was given by Alfred Marshall is basically called
Utility approach.
very good. And the theory which was given by J.R. Hicks and Allen is called
Indifference curve approach.
very good. Indifference curve approach is also known as ordinal approach. Remember that. We will be doing this in the coming up classes. We will do this separately. So basically, according to Alfred Marshall, in order to understand the concept of equilibrium, we must understand how many concepts?
5.
5 concepts, and those are: number 1, utility,
Total
margin,
utility,
right?
marginal utility,
Correct.
LODM, law of
LDMU,
diminishing,
LDMU.
yeah, law of diminishing marginal utility, and then utility of money.
Very good. Nice. Okay. So we will, just to evaluate your understanding, we will be doing one more question based on the total utility and marginal utility. And after that, we will be ending this session. We will continue the other part in the next class. We will
Yes.
be doing law of diminishing marginal utility in the next session. So basically, in this question, there are quantity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then there is total utility, and we have also marginal utility. I'm giving you the value of total utility. You just have to determine the value of marginal utility.
Yes,
You do not need to solve this. You just observe the values and just answer my question. So basically, total utilities, let's say this is 40, then it is 40, 50, and then 40, then it is 110, 120, 125, then 128, 128 again, and then 100. You are able to see this now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, quantity, total utility, and marginal utility. Now, Samiksha, please tell me, if after consuming 1 unit, total satisfaction is 50, then what will be the value of marginal utility at first unit?
50.
50. And at second unit?
Minus 10.
This is 90, sorry. This is 90.
40.
40, right. Next.
20 minus 20.
20, all right.
Then 10.
10, very good.
5.
5,
3.
3,
0. Minus
perfect.
28.
Very good. Very nice. So I think everything is well understood. I think everything is clear to you.
Yes, sir.
Acha. Just let me also tell you that whenever there are questions asked in exams based on total utility and marginal utility, sometimes questions are asked like this. You are provided with a basically tabular form question where values of total utility and marginal utility will be missing. It will be like,
Yes, sir.
suppose these are the quantity 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you will be given the value of total utility, and you will also be given the value of marginal utility. Total utility will be like, say for example, this is 80 and this will be missing, then this is 50, then this is missing, and this is then 150 and this is missing, then 5 and this is missing, and then this is 140 and this value is missing. So questions like this are also asked in exam. So if you understood the concept of total utility and marginal utility, you will be able to solve such a question very easily. You will not find it difficult at all. So
Yes.
can you answer this? If the quantity, if there is only one quantity is consumed and total utility is 80, what will be the value of marginal utility, Samiksha? 80, right? Next is marginal utility, that is extra satisfaction that consumer is getting after consuming second unit is 50.
Yes,
It
sir.
means total satisfaction earlier was 80, now extra satisfaction is 50, which means we will add this 50 to the total
130.
satisfaction, right? This will be 130. And now at third unit, total satisfaction increases to 150. It means there is change of 20 utils. So this
20.
will be your marginal utility. Now there is 5 utils of marginal utility, which
155.
basically means correct 155. Very good. And at fifth unit, marginal utility.
-15.
Very good. Nice. This is it. So these are the type of question that you can be asked from basically total utility and marginal utility, other than the theoretical part.
Yes.
There are two varieties of questions that are asked in exam. Number one, they can ask you the theory part, that what is marginal utility, what is total utility, and the other variety is that they'll basically ask students to complete the table or find the numeric values of total or marginal utility.
Yes, sir.
So this is what I have taught in the last session, 9 o'clock batch. That somehow due to our mistake, you are misinformed and you have
Yes.
joined the class late. Never mind. So I think I have covered everything that I have taught them,
Yes,
and
sir.
you will be good to go in the next class. You will not be having
Okay.
any kind of problem. All right,
Yes.
Samiksha. So this is it for today's session. We will be doing the law of diminishing marginal utility and utility of money in the next session. All right.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So this is it. Goodbye. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you, sir.